with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So when I was younger, I had a couple of mates. My best mates were Jason, Charles, and Aristotle, a Filipino kid. Charles was also half Filipino as well. He was half Maori, half Filipino. And Ari was just full Filipino. Like came from the Philippines when he was 6 or some shit. So those were my 3 dudes when I was growing up. And Jace, he's on my Facebook. So every now and then he pops up and I can see what he's up to. But Charles and Ari pretty much fell off the face of the earth. The last I sort of heard through a friend of a friend of a friend about Charles was he was smoking a lot of weed, which he always had, and he was still living with his mum. I would say this is about 15 years ago. But ever since then, no one's heard or seen him or anything. I haven't fucking been able to find him. No photos, nothing. Just pretty much disappeared. Ari has been even more elusive. I've been looking for him for so fucking long. He was the fucking best, but we sort of drifted apart around about year 9 or something. Maybe a little bit earlier because he went to a different school and then he got caught up with some other shit. The last I heard of him was I was at a house party in year 9 in Moorabbin and I was speaking to a dude that went to the same school as him. I was like, oh, do you know this dude, Ari? He's like, yeah, he dropped out and started doing heroin. Started doing heroin in like grade 8. I'm like, that doesn't sound too far off. So the other day I was on my annual search for these two. Couldn't find Charles. He's nowhere to be seen. But I typed in Ari's name, and Ari has a very specific name. So if anything pops up, it's definitely him. So I type it in, first time in over 10 years, Ari's name pops up. And it's definitely him. Because he was arrested on the 1st of September in Moorabbin and he was refused bail and he's awaiting trial. It didn't say what for, but definitely him, definitely arrested, definitely awaiting trial. So those were my 2 best mates growing up. One's a ghost, one's in jail. It's funny when you think about these people from your past, like way back. Like, I would have nothing in common with any of them anymore, but I would really like to see them and just like say hi, what's been happening, what did you get up to, what did you get arrested for? Eventually, everyone's going to die. That's the reality of it. So it'd be nice to say, hey, before we fucking die. I mean, it's been like 25 years since I spoke to them. If I wait another 25 years, there's going to be some casualties. There's casualties approaching. Not super fast, but fast enough. I mean, Piglet's dead. I thought I was going to be able to get a fucking 2-piece feed off that cunt at KFC. There's another friend I had when I was younger, Michael. I'm not going to say people's last names. I don't seem to care about my privacy, but other people may do. But yeah, I grew up with this kid, Michael, and he was just like the funniest fucking dude ever. He probably fucking shaped my sense of humor. One of the most out of anyone, actually, because he used to get fucking adults laughing when he was like 8, 9, 10, into his teenage years. He was fucking good. Not like kiddie shit either. He had a really like adult sense of humor. So fucking funny. He's the one who ran away with his mum's friend when he was like 14. She was like 50 and fat as fuck. And he ran away with her and started living with her. And it was on like fucking A Current Affair and shit like that. It was on the news. Anyway, I fucking found him on Facebook and I haven't spoken to that cunt in longer probably. Since he ran away with that old fat bird. And I just want to fucking say g'day. Because he was important. He actually hit me with a fucking cricket bat once as well. Not like jokingly, like he slammed me in the side with a fucking cricket bat. A full fucking cover drive. But he was one of the early funny fucking dudes. Like there's a bunch of people in my past that I sort of fucking grew up with that were just like next level hilarious. Just the funniest fucking cunts. Like, Michael was one of them. There was another guy, Phil White. Phil was like unbelievably funny. Phil in his prime, maybe like from 14 to 17, I don't think there would have been many people funnier than him. He was like a carny. He used to go from carnival to carnival. This is when he was like 16. He used to drive around in his Holden fucking Gemini with no license and go to all the carnivals. So he was just on the darts and fucking, he was a full carny at like 16. And he used to be able to get a full house party to listen to him and would just slaughter, just fucking kill every single person in the house party. I remember one specific time I was just like blown away. I was like, I will never be as funny as Phil. He was in the lounge room and he had every single person in this house party fucking crowded around him as he told a story, and people were just on the floor laughing. I was in tears. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever fucking seen. I thought he was the funniest and fucking coolest cunt out. And then like about 2 years later, once I became like kind of friends with him, we were standing waiting for a bus to go somewhere, and he goes to me, he goes, I think I'm ugly, man. I'm like, nah, man, you're cool. Like, I don't know what you want me to say, Phil. You're hot? He's like, yeah, I'm ugly and I'm a loser. I'm like, what the don't fucking lay this on me. We're waiting for a bus. I don't want to sit on the bus for the next 30 minutes thinking about you worried about you being ugly. So that was probably the turning point for my adulation of Phil. But God, fuck me, he was the funniest cunt ever. Also, my mate Shawnee, one of the funniest fucking dudes ever. Gav, who I'm still friends with, he's not as funny as he used to be, but in his prime, probably fucking year 9 to year 12, even after year 12, he was funny too. But in his prime, there was nothing you could do. He was just miles funnier than fucking anyone. He came up to Sydney on my 21st, and I had a bit of a party, and he also had the whole fucking party just fucking huddled around him. As he was telling this story, it was about me, him, and Shawnee getting high once. And people were just flat out, just fucking tears. My dad was in literal tears listening to the fucking story. That's how you know if you should be a comedian. If you can fucking rule a fucking party, a house party, that's your signal. Should I be a stand-up? Can I do it in the real world where it's the hardest? Where people are full distracted, they don't want to listen to you, and you can still manage to fucking hold court. That's how you know. All these guys could have been the greatest comedians ever, but, you know, they chose a different path. You don't forget the funny ones. You forget everyone else except for the funny ones. If someone can genuinely make you fucking laugh, it's a fucking... Oh, and Morgan, my old mate fucking Morgan, low-key funny cunt. Probably one of the funniest cunts out as well. But low-key, wouldn't want to like dominate a house party, but would pull you aside and make some real good fucking jokes. You don't forget the funny ones. Anyway, what the fuck was that? I don't even know what that was, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, share the podcast around, and I'll see you the fuck later.